Hey up. So, we're moving away from Jess Franco, thankfully, and moving towards somebody who needs no introduction on this channel. We've talked about him plenty of times, Lucio Fulci. And we're kicking this off with Cat in the Brain. This is a 1990 Italian horror film directed by and starring Lucio Fulci. That's right, he acts in this one. Referred to as Fulci's 8½, it is semi-autobiographical and features shots from other films. It's generally got a bit of a cult following to it and people talk highly of it, as far as I've seen anyway. I bought this from Poundland back when I was a teenager, and I probably watched it around the same time, so I don't remember anything about this. Let's see if it's any good, shall we?
A steak, and when I saw the meat, I was totally overcome with a sense of repulsion. And this morning, sadism, Nazism. Is there any point anymore? Sadism.
Lucio!
The film follows Dr. Lucio Fulci. No prizes for guessing who plays that character, who's a film director and while working on a particularly violent film, starts having strange and gory hallucinations. Turns out though that some of the things he's been seeing are actually happening in the real world. Is he losing his mind, or is something or someone more nefarious at play? It's got a pretty good story, this. It suffers a little bit with its pacing. It does get a little repetitive, especially in that middle section, but for the most part it did keep my interest and I ended up really enjoying it. I do have a soft spot though for films about making films, and this one didn't disappoint.
Good morning, Mr. Fulci.
To decapitated, devouring the remains of a
The acting and dubbing are fine for the most part here. It's way better than what we've been watching recently. Some of the side characters can be a little bit silly, but that's about as far as it goes. It's not too distracting really. This film is crammed with gore. We get loads of the stuff. From like decapitations to worms bursting out of a person, face melts, axes, stabbings, plenty of stuff in here, and it's all as gooey and disgusting as you want it to be. Really good stuff. And there's a bit of added nudity in here as well. Can't forget the sleaze, and there's even a weird Nazi orgy. I mean, it wouldn't be a Fulci film though without a bit of weird sleaziness, would it? The music's pretty good as well. Synthy stuff that moves into like experimental jazz and some rock sections. Really good, and I think I kept hearing little references to the Beyond. There'll be music playing and there'll be like this sort of moaning in the background, and it does just sound like it's straight from that film. And to be honest, with the self-referential nature of this film, I wouldn't be surprised.
No! No! What do you want from me, Mr. Fulci?
So let's talk a little bit more about the films that are featured in this film. There's a few, so I'm going to have to keep checking the notes just because I can't remember all the names of them. We have Bloody Psycho, Massacre, and The Murder Secret, and these three weren't directed by Fulci, they were directed by other Italian directors. Usually, I think they were all just mates with Fulci in some way though. And then we have Sodoma's Ghost, Hansel and Gretel, and Touch of Death, which were directed by Fulci. Now, I haven't seen any of these films, so I couldn't really tell you when clips are being shown. I could hazard a guess a few times, and they're usually shown in the context of something he's watching on TV or part of the film that he's making, I believe. But quite a few films crammed into this one, really. Clips from, anyway. As I said as well, this is semi-autobiographical and is apparently based on things that Fulci has experienced in the filmmaking industry, which is a bit ugh. Originally as well, the script was much shorter and didn't include any dialogue or anything like that. It was just detailed descriptions of gore paired with music. And to be honest, you can kind of see this original script peeking in here and there in the final piece. There are very long sections of graphic violence with Fulci just sort of looking on a little bit confused or upset. Apparently, don't know how true this is, but it seems that Fulci wasn't 100% confident in his acting ability. Even though he's in about 90% of this film, if you watch it either English or Italian dub, he has been dubbed over by another actor, so you never actually hear his voice. But you know, he seems fine in it, he fits the role anyway. This was cut, this film, and it was passed in 2003, fully uncut, and that's the version that is on this disc that we're looking at today.
We are gonna eat our mistress. Stick to turn, no. No. Not to turn.
Okay, print time, and it's completely fine. Again, clear image, clear sound, no complaints at all. You know what? I'm beginning to be really impressed with these Hard Gore print qualities. We've had more good than bad, I'd say, and they're doing way better than Vipco or Dead at Night were doing at this point. And on the disc we get the standard stuff. We get chapter select, filmographies, stills, reviews, production notes, and more Hard Gore trailers. Okay, time for the case. Firstly, I really like the front cover. It is a shame that they reused the same picture of the dude on the front and the back though, it just seems a little bit lazy. I only just spotted this quote on the front as well. I've had this disc for over 15 years and I've never noticed that there's a quote on this chainsaw. The font's tiny and it's barely visible. Really weird inclusion, why even have a quote if you're going to obscure it so much? The pictures on the back are nice and gory and the description's fine, although they did spell Fulci's name wrong right at the beginning. Not great, and I tell you what else isn't great either, the runtime is slightly out. They've been alright for this so far, Hard Gore, they've not been too bad with the runtime, but this time the film's actually 89 minutes, so it is out by 4 minutes. This is labelled as part of the Fulci collection, with it being plastered on the spine and the front, similar to the Jess Franco collection that we covered recently. Also included in the collection is the next 2 DVDs that I will be talking about. And lastly, we also get another Poundland leaflet. Overall then, I really enjoyed this one. It's got a great story and a ton of gore in here. It does get a little repetitive and the pacing does suffer here and there, but I still really enjoyed this, and for one of Fulci's last films, it does feel like a great send-off. I definitely recommend this if you're a fan of gore, Italian horror, or Fulci. Definitely worth checking out. And to be honest, for cheap, this disc is fine. If you do want the upgrade though, 88 Films do have a Blu-ray knocking about, and then there's a few import Blu-rays for you importers watching out there. So yeah, pretty decent, pretty good. It's nice to finally see something good coming from this collection. And hopefully we can continue that trend as we move forward in the Lucio Fulci collection to a film that is definitely worked on by Fulci. He definitely had something to do with this film. Absolutely he did, no question. It's in the Fulci collection, so of course he worked on this film. We're going to be checking out The Red Monks.